Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Papa Boris here, playing some more Hearthstone Battlegrounds, except that's kind of a lie, because this is going to be a slightly unusual daily Hearthstone Battlegrounds video. You see, I recorded this run yesterday, and I accidentally didn't have my microphone turned on, so a whole lot of stuff was said, and none of it got saved. So I'm going to do a post... what's it called? I knew the name of it before I began. Post video commentary? Oh god. Well, anyway, it's basically I am watching this and I am recording commentary as I watch it. Went ahead and picked Edwin over Yogg because while Yogg is the better hero, what is going on here? Oh, there we go. While Yogg is the arguably better hero, I just prefer Edwin. I do like the more active hero power and the one that can be used more times throughout the game. So, I don't actually remember everything that happened, so a lot of this is going to be news to me as much as it is to you. So here, I think, obviously, the main judgment calls between the JoJo bot and the Voidwalker. The JoJo bot can provide a refresh on a Cobalt Guardian later, whereas the Voidwalker has better stats. I guess I decided to go for the gamble that I'll find a Cobalt Guardian later. I think if you don't find a Cobalt Guardian, then the Mecharoo is just a straight-up worse thing than having the Voidwalker. I guess I must have talked about that because you can see the mouse going over both of them in rapid succession.
Don't tell the others.
Now you're likely to have two losses when you pick the Mecharoo, because that's going to lose to Voidwalkers, it'll lose to the Rockpool Hunters. You know, I guess it actually ties the Microbot, it ties the Wolf, it ties any of the tokens. The Voidwalker ties the Murloc tokens, but it beats the Beast tokens. But I guess beating things isn't that important, it's just a matter of not taking damage. So I guess actually Mecharoo's pretty close. Now here is where we get to the first really interesting part of the game. There were two Wrathweavers here, and probably the correct thing to do is just to do nothing, and then they'll be re-rolled in the following round when we get a fresh roll of possibly 2-tier minions. Here, however, I decided, if I remember correctly, to go for gold, go for the glory, go for it, connect 4, and yep, freeze those. Now, this is a high-risk, high-reward kind of a play, because if you do get demons, then every single demon that you play is essentially +4/+4, each individual Wrathweaver giving itself +2/+2, and that's a really big amount of buffs. But we've definitely seen on this channel times where the demons just never come up. And that's a problem, because when the demons never come, then you've just got really horrendously underpowered minions. And what I figured in this case was that, okay, if I get demons, it's awesome, and I'm probably going to make it to top 4, probably even second or first place. But if I don't get demons, then, you know, I can sell off the Wrathweavers later, and the price I paid for my insolence is taking some damage, losing these, you know, kind of turn 3 to turn 6 to turn 7-ish fights. And I figured that was worth it, but upon reflection, I don't think it's actually worth it, because in Hearthstone Battlegrounds, if your goal is to raise your rating, then you want to try to get to top 4 as consistently as possible, and this is not a consistent line. It's like a line that gets you, like, 4th most of the time is better than a line that gets you 1st sometimes and 8th sometimes. So, I don't think I made the correct play. Now, in a lot of other board games, I am a strategy gamer, you know, the philosophy is that there's first place, and then everything else is a loss. And it doesn't matter if you lose in 8th place or 2nd place, right? It's if anything other than first is, you didn't win the game. But in Hearthstone Battlegrounds, because of the rating system, it's not true. It is better to be 2nd than 3rd, it's better to be 4th than 6th, and so on and so forth. So I think that, like, taking these really swingy early plays is probably not correct. Although, you know, it is fun! And who can say that fun is wrong? If fun is wrong, I don't want to be right. Actually, if fun is wrong, I actually want to be right, because if fun is wrong, I should probably just do the other thing that makes me win more. Anyway, so here we had a roll with no demons, and it's the gold 6 turn where you really want to buy 2 things. So I did have a pretty good option here with a Murloc token and a War Leader, so that means that I have a lot of stats on the board compensating for my rather lack of power on the Wrathweaver front. Did I actually manage to win this fight? That's very unlikely. Because when all your stuff is 1 health, you know, it's not going to survive. It was pretty close, though. Okay, so here, actually, I'm very curious what happened on Gold 7. Did I find a demon? I did not find a demon. Oh my god, this this was a terrible start. So I guess what? I'd probably take that Murloc Tidehunter? Just to get another what is that? 2, 3, plus 4, 7 power on the board. Yeah. The Boombot must be tempting, because right now there is somewhat of a, I don't want to call it a renaissance, because that implies it was there before and is now being reborn. There's more of like a science, I suppose, of Death Rattle, where Baron Rivendare, whose name I can never, I always want to call him Baron Von Rivendale, and then I started thinking about Riverdale, which is like that terrible, terrible TV show based on the Betty and Veronica comics, which is just awful. I mean, I don't know. Okay, this is just a little bit of a tangent, since I'm not actually playing the game, and I'm just going to go on it. Nothing interesting is happening. I really hate it when shows... I basically just don't like shows about high school, or at least they bother. Like, that's not true. I like Veronica Mars, and that's a show about high school students, but for the most part, I don't like shows about high school students, because it's... First of all, ridiculous that they're always played by, like, 28-year-olds. And second of all, no high schooler's life is all that interesting. Like, you could find me the most interesting high schooler's life in the country, and I guarantee you, it's not that interesting. Like, they're just crushed by extracurriculars, APs, and studying for the ACT, and they just want to die. Like, that's a high schooler's life. They are not... When do they have time to, like, go for long... Whoa, that was weird. I didn't take a demon. Like, it was the 2/4 that buffs a demon, but it would have buffed the Wrathweavers. That must have been worthy of consideration. Well, I luck-sacked my way out of it by rolling into a Wrathweaver. Or, sorry, not a Wrathweaver. A Floating Watcher. And getting a Cobalt... Well, the Cobalt Guardian was the previous purchase. So I got the Cobalt Guardian on the previous purchase. Didn't buy a demon, though I should have. Lucked into a reroll with the Floating Watcher, and now I'm actually in great shape here, because with a Floating Watcher and 2 Wrathweavers, every time you play a demon, both Wrathweavers trigger independently, so the Floating Watcher actually gets +4/+4, and each Wrathweaver gets +2/+2, so that means that you're getting a total of +8/+8 whenever you play a demon, which is insane, and that just completely fixes my build, especially because I have a Cobalt Guardian. As I've said before, I tend to think that with demons, you just get Wrathweaver and Floating Watcher, and then your, like, other 3 to 4 cards can just be whatever you want, and so Cobalt Guardian plus an attack buff on it is pretty slick. So anyway, Riverdale, the show about... the live-action show based on the Archie comics. Not a fan of it. The guy's, like, clearly 28 years old, and they, like, apparently just don't have homework. It always bugs me. Anyway, so here I get a spawn of N'Zoth, which makes sense, because when you have a full board, that's a lot of power. Did I get a second one? I did. Okay, so what do you sell for that? I guess you sell off your Little Murloc and then that 3/3 mech. Here, you gotta buy that demon, right? So you gotta sell off 2 things, buy the demon, play it. Boris, buy the demon. Boris, what are you doing? Get the demon! Did I get the demon? Oh god, thank god, Jesus Christ. And then, of course, you buff the one thing. And then I use my hero power on the Cobalt Guardian. I think I would do that again. That makes sense. Cobalt Guardian with a regenerating Divine Shield. You obviously want as much attack power as possible. But I don't have anything at the moment that refreshes the Divine Shield, but, you know, that's just, I'm 1 card away from finding that. You know, a Harvest Golem, Jojo Bot, Security Rover, and of course, any other mech plus the Replicating Menace would be the dream, and then my Cobalt Guardian's all set. So I have a lot of stats here. I wonder, though, is this going to be enough to win this particular fight? It was. Okay, good. So the health on the Floating Watcher keeps it together. Now, at this point, if you do get that Floating Watcher to go with your early Gambit Wrathweavers, I think something really extraordinary would have to happen not to make top 4. So that is the upside of this gamble, is that if you do roll that Floating Watcher, then you're very likely to make top 4, and then you don't have to worry about it. Now here I was up against the Ghost, so it must have been tempting to upgrade the Tavern to 4. Did I notice that? I don't know if I noticed that. Maybe I didn't notice it. If I didn't notice it, that would be a mistake. Get another Demon, which is great. That one's like +10/+10 because it's the +8/+8 for any demon plus the +2/+2 for it. Yeah, I must not have noticed I was up against the Ghost. Oh, Golden Wrathweaver. Do I get it in time? Now, you might think it's a mistake to play the Demon here while I've got the 2 Wrathweavers on the table, because each individual Wrathweaver is +2/+2. If you get a gold one, then it's +4/+4. So upgrading 2 regular ones is the same as upgrading a gold one, but you take an extra damage when you've got 2 of them, obviously. However, the fact that each Wrathweaver damages your face separately means that Floating Watcher gets an extra +2/+2, and I guess I must have figured that the extra +2/+2 was worth it for taking 1 extra point of damage. Interesting, I sold off a card so I could use my hero power. Now, a general rule of thumb is you want to have as many minions on the board as possible. But I guess here it actually made sense to disobey that rule because I was up against a ghost. Maybe I noticed in time that I was up against a ghost, and I was like, oh crap, I'm up against a ghost, I should have really taverned up. But, you know, since I'm here, I might as well take advantage of the extra hero power, because obviously every turn that you don't use your hero power, you never get that back, and you never get the chance over again. So we just beat a dead horse savagely there. And here we're looking for another minion. Plus, of course, any demons. I must have rerolled this. This looks like crap. Did I tavern up here, I wonder? So now I'm not up against the ghost. Obviously, you can't be up against the ghost twice, but we have played Jiraxis before. He wasn't very strong. We pretty much out-demoned Jiraxis in the last encounter that we had with him. Kind of curious to see what I do here. Hovering over the Zubat, because I clearly forgot what it buffs. I never can remember that. I picked that up not because I care about keeping it, but because it is a demon. And every demon is +4/+4 in the Wrathweaver and a +2/+2 in the Watcher. I go for a second Cobalt. Interesting. That makes sense. The bogey monster's clearly just garbage. And also my demon that I just played is a rotating slot. In fact, I swap it out for a Cobalt. Interesting choice. I don't know if that's actually correct or not. I buff the second one? That can't be right, can it? Because that one doesn't have a Divine Shield, so the additional attack isn't as valuable on it. And that might not necessarily be a card that sticks around. I might not have the space for 2 separate Cobalts. And again, what's better than 2 Cobalts? 2 Cobalts are pretty good, so maybe it's okay to buff it just to make it so that like I have 2 that are both strong as opposed to 1 that is very strong and 1 that's relatively weak. I really like that I can actually hear the game audio on this. I must have the game audio set too low in my regular setup because I can never hear it afterwards. But since I was doing this in Camtasia, I figured might as well just like up the game audio to the max, and then you can just barely hear it. Hilariously, maybe now my voice is too quiet relative to the audio. Who knows? This whole video is a crap show anyways. Okay, so I guess I'm thinking about the Kaboom bot here with 2 N'Zoths. Spawns of N'Zoth, that is. And you get a Boom bot that goes well with the Baron thing, because you really want death rattles that don't put stuff on the board, since you don't have enough board space anyways most of the time. Yeah, there's my triple on N'Zoth spawn. Nice. I tavern up to get the tier 5 discovery. Now I've got +2/+2 on my board, and that thing dies. What do I get? I don't even remember. Oh, interesting. So the 2 good demons at 5, well, the only 2 demons at 5, which are often things I seek and don't get, but weirdly in this case, I don't think either one of them, I would take the Lightfang Enforcer, right? Because, yeah, good job, Boris! Good job, you're doing everybody proud. Ah, that's a good play. Get the Bogey Monster's garbage, and that thing is +10/+10, so yeah, makes sense. This does mean I don't get to use my hero power this round.
Keep up the momentum, friend.
I could have sold that 2/4 demon to use my hero power. That might have made sense. So with the Lightbang Enforcer, we've got a demon, obviously, and mechs, obviously, so we just need like a decent beast. Or Murloc. Murloc may be optional, but a beast like a Cave Hydra would be nice for the cleave. I actually kept that 2/4 demon on the board. That might have been a mistake, because then there was a 50/50 that the Lightfang Enforcer buffed it instead of my big demon. Then again, my demon's already got so many big stats. A Floating Watcher, there's not necessarily that much of pressure for him to get every single +2/+1 upgrade. Okay, so we're cruising to top 4 here in high style. There we go, we're in top 5. And there's the Cave Hydra. I had to have gotten this, right? Oh man, I'd be crazy if I didn't get this thing. Okay, so yeah, because now that's going to start getting buffed with Lightfang Enforcer. We have a rotating spot. The question is, once we replace that rotating spot with a Hydra, what is our next rotating spot? Because now we need another rotating spot. What do you get rid of? And see, here's where it might be tempting to get rid of the Cobalt Guardian.
Good tactical choice.
I guess that spawn of N'Zoth, sexy as it is, needs to go. Oh man, another Floating Watcher? Is that actually worth starting? Obviously it'd be great to triple it, although I think at this point in the game, starting a base one from scratch is probably not good enough. Man, I'm really curious what I did here. Did I just... Actually, in this particular situation, you can delay the inevitable. You can just sell... Oh, I did sell off that second Cobalt Guardian! Which means I should not have buffed it with my hero power that one time. Zubat. Why Zubat? That can't be right, can it? Oh my god, that's so wrong. I should have taken the Floating Watcher. It's a demon, even if I don't intend to keep it. That gives more stats than the Zubat does. I mean, sure, the Zubat gives a +1 to my Cleaver, and bonus damage on Cleaves is nice. But first of all, the Zubat has a chance of stealing the buff from my Floating Watcher, or from my Cobalt Guardian. And second of all, +1/+1 on the Cleaver is probably not as good as a +8/+8 on my other stuff. Not to mention the Floating Watcher itself would have become a 6/6. Ooh, that was bad. You know, I would never actually do this as my main way of making videos, because it effectively doubles how long each video takes. I have to play the game, then I have to like watch it and record myself talking over it, so that's, you know, not efficient. And I can't afford to be inefficient these days with my little baby taking up most of my time. But it is kind of interesting to see yourself playing afterwards. Alright, so we got a Replicating Menace, which is not great, because I don't have any other mechs. Although, yeah, I should not have sold that second Cobalt Guardian. I should have kept the Cobalt Guardian. I should have sold the Spawn of N'Zoth instead. And then I could put a Replicating Menace on the other Cobalt Guardian, and then, you know, have Cobalt the Guardians replicating menacing each other. Wow, 2 Floating Watchers. What a lucky roll there. So I do get the triple on Floating Watcher anyway, and this compensates for my mistake not picking up a Floating Watcher last time. I wonder if I fall for the trap of Hound Mastering my Cave Hydra. It's always so tempting because the Cave Hydra is a cleave. You think, ah, yeah, bruh, I just wanna give it a +2/+2, and yeah, that's taunt, but you know, and then you always end up regretting it. You always like, oh, well, it's gonna die anyway, so who cares? But like sometimes it really does suck that it has taunt, especially if your opponent wins the 50-50 and attacks first, and the +2 health does not make it survive. Then you really wish that you had not put taunt on that thing. So I'm curious to see if I fall for the trap here and buy that Hound Master to upgrade my Hydra with. Alright, not bad. Cave Hydra's doing a pretty impressive job hanging in there. Oh, this was a fight against a ghost. Jiraxis, yes. I just get sick pleasure out of out-demoning Jiraxis. I just hate Jiraxis. There was a brief time where I was like, oh, Jiraxis, he was buffed. He's only 2 gold now. Demons are fun! But Demons is just like literally the worst tribe. Yes, I do mean literally the worst tribe to have a +1/+1 hero power, because so many of their cards are not demons. If it was Murlocs, mechs, or beasts, yes, a hero that for 2 gold gave +1/+1 to a tribe would be completely fine. But demons have, I think, the smallest number of minions, so they're most likely to get screwed by not ever getting minions, and then they also have the added fact that some of the key cards are not actually demons. So what do I take here? I guess the Max is probably the strongest thing, because Poison is just so good, and it counters a lot of stuff. A lot of times people do go for big vanilla stats, since there's no more amalgams making it easy to go Murlocs. But I went for Zap, which is a fair choice. I mean, the thing about Zap is he has a lot of synergy with Edwin, since Edwin, probably more so than any other hero, has the easiest time buffing up Zap to make his assassination powers more effective. And then, you know, sometimes you just, like, snipe a Baron or a Kangor's Apprentice, or even something like a Soul Juggler or a Pack Leader or a Mama Bear, and it is really, really good to get rid of those things that people want to keep around to provide bonuses throughout the fight. Like here, for example, it's maybe not the best example, because there isn't that much good stuff to regenerate. Is that a Zubat? It's just a bunch of janky-ass mechs, so the Kangor's Apprentice being sniped before it can regenerate mechs isn't that big of a deal. But, like, that shows just, you know, how useful Zap can be if this person did have, like, Baron and Mechano eggs spawning, you know, 2 16/16s, making it so that it spawns only 1 16/16 would be pretty dang useful. Okay, so there we are, securing top 3 the hard way, which is by killing somebody. Now I'm going to fight a real person. We got top person there, AFK. Do I even know what AFK has? I have no idea what AFK has. So here I'm hovering over the N'Zoth spawn furiously, which suggests that I'm aware that that needs to be my rotating slot and it needs to go. I am just dying to find out if I got a Hound Master. No, move your cursor away, Boris. Stop it. Stop looking at the Hydra. Just click the roll button. Just click the button. No! God, why do you do this? It's probably a mistake to buy the Replicating Menace here, because all it really is like a +3/+1 on my Cobalt Guardian. There's no other Cobalt Guardian to refresh because I'm an idiot and I sold it. Although now, what would have been my rotating spot if I had an extra thing on the board? Why did I freeze that board? What the hell's on that board for me to freeze? Oh, I guess we'll see. Okay, that time Zap was not impressive because he just destroyed 2 crappy buff minions. Actually, really curious to see how it did versus top AFK here. Okay. Looks like my stats should hold it here. There is going to be a refresh on that Divine Shield, but no, I popped it soon enough. Nice. Okay. So yeah, that must have felt good, beating the top player. It's always really scary when the person in first place is someone you haven't played in a while. Like, obviously it's good luck to never play against whoever is crushing the game. But then when you do have to play them in the end as the field narrows and it becomes inevitable, it's really scary. It's like, I have no idea what this person has, and they are in first. They might crush me. Was I thinking of taking the Baron? Or was I thinking of taking... No, it couldn't have been Baron. There's nothing... I don't have a Death Rattle thing. It must be the Zubot. Wow. I froze a board just for a +1/+1 on my Hydra. That's gotta be a mistake. It's gotta be a mistake because +1/+1 isn't that big of a deal. You're spending 3 gold just to give a +1/+1. That cannot be correct. And on top of that, +1/+1 might not even make a difference. And you're freezing from the previous round, so you're stopping 5 rolls. That's kind of a big deal. Yeah, that was a mistake. Now here I played correctly. I did get the, I played the Vermin Sensei last, which is smart, because, the Vermin Sensei is untyped, so it cannot steal a Light Fang buff. But actually, I realized looking at this again that I messed up. I had 3 gold. What I should have done is I should have bought a demon, played it, sold it, then used my hero power for an extra +1/+1, and then played the Vermin Sensei to buff the Cleaver. I was running out of time. I'm not sure if I just missed it because I'm bad, which is very possible, or if I just didn't do it because I didn't have enough time. Alright, so how is Cindy Lou Dragon Who doing here? Will my stats carry the day? I guess I really don't like to see that poison there. But we got a pretty lucky 50-50. I guess I was going to win without it. Oh, but this way, do I kill her? I do. Okay, nice. So now we're in top 2 versus AFK. This it feels pretty good because we did beat AFK pretty resoundingly last time. So pretty much anything to incrementally just, you know, increase how much damage I do is good. Interesting about the Security Rover, that could be like a temporary card. One thing you can do in the late game I've noticed sometimes is you can like replace your rotating slot with some like card that's temporarily good. Not good enough to keep forever, but just good enough in the short run. Here we just take a bunch of buffs. And you want to keep the, well, normally you'd keep the Houndmaster last because it's untyped, but in this case, we're actually going to keep the Security Rover last because it is my temporary card. Now, it is potentially questionable. Let's see. No, nothing worth freezing. It's potentially questionable to keep the Rover as a temporary card because it does steal a Light Fang buff, as it actually did here. So AFK did not work around the fact that I had an assassin, and once again I assassinated the Kangaroo's Apprentice. This time with the Cobalt Guardian and the Golden Boombot and the egg. There's actually the Kangaroo's Apprentice is a much bigger deal here. Last time it was like a Cobalt and like some shielded mini bots or something. But in this case, with the... Or was that a different... That was a different player, wasn't it? So last time I think is not actually this particular player, but last time I sniped a Kangaroo's Apprentice from a totally different player. There was just a bunch of janky mechs, but this one with like the Golden Bot, Mech Egg, and a Cobalt to round out the mix. Sniping the Kangaroo's Apprentice was pretty useful. Okay, now this, I don't believe I ended up killing her here, so I had to make it through one more round. Yeah. So it's a question of whether she can scale her mechs. I guess in general, mechs probably scale better than what I've got cooking here, which is some kind of half-assed demon menagerie. So we can use it to... There's actually 2 candidates here for a temporary slot. The Demon could be good for just like mopping things up. I guess that's what I went with, but I don't know if that's correct. I'm hovering over it. I must have been talking about it. So the Selfless Hero, which gives a Divine Shield, Death Rattle, that also could have been a good temporary slot. And then I cursed over the Egg, so I must have been thinking, well, that could have been a good card to use temporarily. Here, what am I doing? I should have taken the Voidwalker and played it for a buff. Oh my god, am I going to play that Demon? I ran out of time, I suppose. Shoot. Wow. That was a bunch of wasted gold. I froze here? That can't be right. Freezing for the Egg. I mean, yes, the Egg is a good temporary card, but there's a bunch of different cards that I could put in my rotating slot temporarily. It doesn't have to be the Egg. It's not even maybe the best one. And I do have this Cave Hydra in my hand that I'm never going to play, but it's just there to try to fish for a triple. I'm not even sure. That just increases the attack by 2 and the health by 4. It's not even that big of a deal. Like, it's so not a big deal. I've been buffing my Assassin this whole time instead of buffing the Cave Hydra, because I just know that with all the Divine Shields in the world and the taunts and the isolation and stuff, just buffing your Cleaver to huge amounts isn't necessarily even that valuable. Always feels good to get to go twice with your Assassin, although when you're killing 1 more Microbots with it, it's maybe not as impressive. But I don't think that Cobalt Guardian's going to carry this by itself, so we ended up getting first place. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like and or subscribe, and I'll do my best to keep my microphone turned on so we can have live commentary in the future, here and forevermore. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you again soon.